Here we are live for another episode of the Check Swing Podcast with my man Miguel Santa and myself. He's the star of the show.
Oh,
As,
stop
as
it.
you can see, he's always decked out in his Phillies gear because right now the Phillies are in first place. They're enjoying a first place situation with the Braves right behind them. But we'll talk about that in a moment. We got a couple things we want to get to, but before we get to everything that we want to talk about, I just want to give a rest in peace and send our condolences to the Burrell family. Um, Cameron Burrell passed away on Monday, a couple of days ago. Cameron Burrell is a world class sprinter, national champion, and son of Olympic gold medalist Leroy Burrell and Michelle Finn Burrell. So I just wanted to send our condolences to the family, and I pray that they find the strength and the will to continue to move forward from this. Rest in peace, Cameron Burrell. Mm. Now, it's the Check Swing Podcast. It's myself. It's Miguel. And like I said, we have some things that we're going to talk about today, and we're going to get right into it. There's a hot pennant race going on, and the city of Philadelphia is actually part of it this year. It's been a few years. I think we haven't been in the playoffs since 2011, and there's an opportunity. We have meaningful baseball in August, and that's always fun to have meaningful baseball in August. Phillies right now in first place, like I said earlier. The Braves are trailing them by one game. Braves won a game last night. Actually, the Phillies right now are battling with the Dodgers right now. Don't have a score, and don't even try to look at the score because you got to be checking us out. But Miguel had the exclusive honor of going to the games. We're going to one of the games this weekend when they played the Mets and were playing for the first place spot with a Mets fan. Which I know had to be in it. I've been to a Phillies Mets game, and it was actually at a time when the Phillies stunk and the Mets were actually good. It was when Bartolo Colon was pitching for the Mets. Actually, he pitched that night for the Mets.
How many pounds ago was that?
He was a big dude.
He's a big dude.
He's still a big dude. He was always a big dude. But Miguel got to enjoy going to the Phillies game. As you see the Mets fan there. What's up, Will?
Sorry, we had a little wager prior to the game, and he was like, "Look, in honor of good sportsmanship, the losing team has to wear the winner's team's jersey." So of course, everybody knows that we came out victorious. So there he is in all his Phillies glory. So now it's I posted this on social media over the weekend. Now this is officially worldwide, officially global.
Oh yeah, it's out there now. I definitely saw it over the weekend, and I'm seeing it again here on the Check Swing Podcast. And hey, sorry, Will. I mean, you picked the wrong team this weekend. I'll tell you that. And we've been trying to tell you since the rip that the Mets suck. And as you can see behind Miguel's head right there. There's a message. The Mets suck.
You want one thing real quick in that game, because we sat we're 322, which is behind home plate, second level.
Nice.
In left field, upper deck, the entire section from the foul pole to center field was filled with Mets fans. Apparently there was a big bus of people that came in out of town. So, of course, when the Mets were good, when the Mets were doing good at times, the whole section was just bursting out. And, of course, the whole chant thing, let's go Mets and you suck and all that stuff was going on. So that was it was kind of funny to see when the Phillies were 5-0, half the section kind of dwindled down to, one or two rows. So.
Yeah, they had a long ride home. That's a long ride home.
That's a long ride home.
That's a long ride home. My question to you was Will harassed at all? But besides by you?
There was some gentle harassment. He had his son with him, so they kept it civil, to say the least.
Good thing it wasn't the Eagles game, huh?
Yeah, if it was Eagles Cowboys, it would have been something, or even Eagles Giants. I think it would have been a little bit less civil.
Yeah.
But no, it was all in good humor. No foul language, nothing disrespectful. Of course, most of the game, Mets fans were quiet. But they were quiet until the ninth inning because the Mets tried to mount a comeback in Saturday's game. Try to post it up here. Which leads me to kind of a beef that I have, and I think Joe Girardi has with Major League Baseball. So here you see in the ninth innings, 5-0. The pitcher comes in, rookie pitcher, Mauricio Loer, and he gives up not one,
Tell me
not two, but he gives up 3 straight home runs, which is the first time any Phillies pitcher has given up 3 consecutive home runs in a game since like 2015 or 2014.
Back to back to back, huh?
Back to back to back. So, Joe Girardi even said after any post-game press conference, he's like, "This is the rule that I absolutely hate." Where now I think it started this year or last year. Any pitcher that comes in has to face 3 batters no matter what. And I think the premise behind it was, back in the day, you'd have a lefty specialist. He would come in for 1 hitter. Then you'd switch and you hit another right-hander. And then you switched. And it was always about matchups. But they were always talking about let's, not prolong the game and, all that good stuff. But, then you run into a situation like this where, the only way that you can, not have them stay in is if it's towards the end of an inning or if there's an injury. So otherwise he has to face 3 batters no matter what.
When is Major League Baseball going to realize that they cannot make the game of baseball more exciting, especially by changing rules of the game that try to enhance the pace of play? For instance, I was having a conversation with somebody earlier, and you and I have had this conversation on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball promotes the game, and they promote a boring game. We're both baseball guys. I'm not afraid to say it. Baseball is a boring game to the average fan.
Right.
The NBA does not promote the game. The NBA promotes the stars of the game.
Right.
Baseball used to promote stars of the game in the 90s, and then the steroids thing happened. And now I think MLB is kind of shying away from or afraid to promote the stars of the game because of the steroid era and how bad it made them look. Because almost everybody they promoted was on
steroids. Right.
But I think that's just something they have to eat. Promote the pace of play. Honest, this is a summer game. This is a slow summer game. It is what it is. People are not going to watch the game more now because there's going to be less pitcher switches, or the batter is not going to be stepping out of the box, or the pitcher has a certain amount of time to pitch the ball. People are not going to watch the game more because of that. You know what? They will watch the game more, and I'm not trying to promote you do this, Major League Baseball. More scoring, more home runs, and a more exciting game. Pace of play is not going to enhance that. That's why, and I'll say it right here, and I've said it to you, I've said to many people, that's why the game of softball on TV is more exciting to watch than the game of baseball.
It's intense.
It's way more intense. It's way more intense, and every pitch counts.
Right.
Every pitch counts. Now, getting away from that, getting back to what we were really talking about, the pennant race. You're a Phillies fan. You're a diehard. I'm a diehard Phillies fan. We've died hard the last few years. Are the Phillies going to make the playoffs this year?
I think I mentioned it either the last week or week before. I think their roster is – I don't think their roster is deep enough, and I only say that because of injuries. I think when like when Segura went down for a little bit, when Harper was out for a little bit. Um, we kind of struggled for those that took their place.
Ain't no kinda.
Yeah, we struggled. We struggled a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like recently, you had like Brad Miller, for instance, who wears those real high socks that I don't like. The stirrups. I don't like the stirrups. I like high socks, not the stirrups.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, he hit 2 home runs that were just out of this world. And he was a former shortstop, but he's pretty much all utility player. Plays great defense for. He actually plays better defense than Reese Hoskins. And kind of piggybacking off of the rule stuff, I do hope that they do bring the DH to the National League, because I'm just tired of, I don't need JD Hammer to come up in the 3rd inning and look at 3 strikes over the freaking plate, just go out and pitch. You know what I mean? Doesn't help your team. But irregardless, now you have Andrew McCutchen coming back from injury, who has been a pleasant surprise this year. Now he's almost, he's going to hit 20, 30 home runs this year. So I think I got to see what they do the rest of this month and maybe the beginning of September to kind of really say, are they going to make the playoffs? Because I just have a feeling they're one injury away. Because I even saw a tweet, JT Realmuto got hit with 2 foul balls in his face mask, and they're kind of looking at him in the dugout. So it's like, you can't lose JT Realmuto, you can't lose Bryce Harper for any extended period of time. So that's when I think that's where depth comes in. So I think that's what kind of gives me some pause or hesitation to say this is a legit contender for the National League East.
I'm completely paused on it. Not because I think the Mets are going to be able to catch up. The Mets are, in 3rd place now. I think the Mets stink. I just, unfortunately, the fan that I am, I'm not ready. I'm not sure I can believe in this team. I'm really not. They're playing the 2nd place Dodgers right now with defending world champions. They took care of business with the Nationals, the Mets, and whoever else. I think it was the Nationals twice, I think, or something like that. But I'm not sold yet. I'm not sold. I was sold on this lineup a couple years ago when they first put the lineup together, the year that McCutchen got hurt. I was sold on the lineup then. They were doing well for a majority of the season. Then after the All-Star break, just kind of fell off, right? Mm-hmm. 2 years in a row they did that, and last year they just completely stunk. This year they're kind of doing the opposite. They stunk, and now they kind of get rolling after the All-Star break, which would make you think, just by that law of averages, that, okay, they're really going to do it. I'm not sold on it, Miguel. I'm just not sold on it. I need Bryce to hit home runs with guys on base.
He's been well, yeah, he does need it. But I mean, he's been on base. Yeah, he's been on. Yeah, I saw it was like 20 home runs and like 45 RBIs. That's like 1 RBI per
right
per 10 home runs. But I mean, he's been on a tear, man, absolute tear.
I think Bryce is an amazing player. I really do, and he embodies the city. He gets it. I said it last week. He gets it. He plays hard. He says the right things. He embraces the fanatic like nobody has ever done.
I think the cleats were overkill, personally.
I do too, but the headband was cool.
The headband was cool,
and he's probably making quite a bit of. Well, I don't know if he's making money off of it, but the team is definitely making money off the head because every kid wants that headband now.
Yeah,
I don't want it, but I might just get one and hang it up.
Well, and I hear you on all that, and I think the one thing that the Phillies have advantage-wise is their schedule for the rest of the season is actually pretty soft.
Right.
I think it's like, they'll face him like, NL Central, like they got Cincinnati after this. It's not really, a formidable team.
And the Reds are playing the Braves right now.
Right. And I think they play 9 division games on the road the rest of the way, but they're all the other games they play are with teams that are like at or below 500. So, So here's a question for you: would it be enough for them to make it to the playoffs, or do you want to see them advance? Consider all things.
It's enough for them to make it for me.
It's enough for them to make it because
it's enough for them to make it. You see the progression. They're a team that, in my opinion, I said they stink. I've said it. I'm on record. For them to make the playoffs, that will be enough for me this year. Because if they do make the playoffs, I don't expect a whole lot from them because the pitching.
Right.
The pitching has been a question the entire season. I don't know how many games our bullpen has blown this year, and let's not even talk about the last few years.
Right.
But for them to win the division would be enough for me.
Okay.
If they were to get in on like the second wild card spot, which I believe would be tough to do with their record, but if they were to get in on the second wild card spot, it's not going to feel the same for me.
I got you.
It just won't. They got to win a division for me. For that to be enough for me. I feel like if you get in the second, and don't get me wrong, you can win the World Series coming from the second wild. All you got to do is get in the dance.
Just get in.
But when you get in the second wild card spot, which is brand new, I just kind of feel like you backdoored your way into the playoffs. You didn't really. You took care of business because there's a bunch of other teams that could have been there, but you're there, but you didn't really take care of business. They baseball. That's one thing baseball did do right. It used to be the top 2 teams played for the World Series. Then it was like the top 4 teams, they played each other in the playoffs and then played for the World Series. And then it was like the top 8 teams played each other in the playoffs, and now it's like the top 10, 12 teams, something crazy like that, playing each other.
I think that was last year, but I think now they're going to stick with the regular wild card.
Oh, they're not doing it. They're not doing it.
Not that I saw, because that would be too many games. And and speaking of like boring, I think that's one thing, because I think even Anthony Rizzo had talked about this like 2 seasons ago. Like, we play too many games. It's like, play less games and go back down to 154 or even 144, and then maybe have like kind of like a play-in tournament the last month. You shouldn't be playing baseball in November. You know what I mean? And they've kind of avoided it. But I just don't think. I just think it's too many games. And of course it's a money thing. Like, you lose those games,
it's absolutely a money thing.
But then, like, it's like maybe make the last 2 weeks, maybe like have a play-in tournament where the top, I don't know, 10 or 15 teams jockey for positioning.
I have a hard time, and I know like they play the most games out of every sport, I believe. I have a hard time hearing a baseball player in this day and age saying they play too many games.
Which is true.
Like, if you're playing football and they're having a 17-game season this year and they didn't want that, I get it. I just have a hard time seeing. I mean, they do play a lot of games. Don't get me wrong. I've never played that many games of baseball in a season.
Well, because baseball is the only sport where you could like stop watching for like 2 weeks and literally not miss a beat.
Yeah, it's true, because I haven't watched baseball, and I didn't watch it at all during the Olympics.
Right. Because I think you started.
But contrary to what you just said, the Phillies went on an 8-game winning streak.
This is true.
While I wasn't watching, so maybe I shouldn't watch. I don't know. But speaking of, well, I want to say one thing real quick before we move on to the NFL, because the NFL, it's the NFL. They are restoring Satchel Paige's home in Kansas City. Did you see that?
Say that one more time.
They are restoring Satchel Paige's home in Kansas City.
I did not know that.
Yeah, his home was destroyed in a fire and in an arson. I don't remember off the top of my head when that happened, if he was already dead or whatever the case may be, but they are restoring his home in Kansas City, and I believe they're going to make it into they have a couple plans for it. It's not going to be a house. It's going to be more than a home. But Satchel Paige's daughter actually lives like a few doors down or maybe a block away from the house. So she's really excited about that. That was her childhood home. So she's really excited to see that home be restored and all like that. So I just wanted to point that out for all the baseball fans out there and all my historians and stuff. Satchel Paige's home is being restored out in Kansas City. So, something to check out, something real interesting. And don't forget the Negro League baseball museum is out in Kansas City too. I want to get a chance. I want to get out there. I want to check that out.
We got to do a road trip and do a show from Kansas City.
I'm so with it. I'm so with it.
Let's do it.
You know what Ichiro said about Kansas City in August.
Oh, what did he say?
He said it's like two rats in a wool sock. Let's just keep it clean.
Right, right.
It's as hot as two rats shenanigan in a wool sock.
That's right. I forgot he said that in
But
his clean accent.
in this clean, yeah, absolutely. But we don't just talk baseball here, as you know. For those that have been watching our show since its inception, we talk all sports. We've talked Olympics, we've talked basketball, we've talked baseball, and now I think for the first time, we're going to talk some football. Both of us are big time Eagles fans. Okay, both of us, we're diehard Eagles fans. So if you don't like it, I don't care.
Get the hell out.
No, y'all, no, stay and listen to what we got to say. But Cowboys fans, yo, stay too, because I'm sure you're gonna love some of the things I say about y'all. The Eagles play their first preseason game tomorrow night against the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's supposed to be a quarterback competition. I'm guessing between Joe Flacco and Jalen Hurts.
Right.
New coach Nick Sirianni has not named a starter yet. I kind of expected that from him. I didn't expect him to name a starter just yet. He probably wants the youngin to work for it. But I also wouldn't be surprised if Joe Flacco won the starting spot just to put a fire under Jalen Hurts, because I feel like that's the type of dude he is. If he doesn't make a team, or if he, what I'm saying, I feel like he's the type of dude that's going to have a fire in him to get back to that spot. But that being said, what are you expecting from that team this year, Miguel?
I mean, you got youth. So, I know in the NFL they don't like calling it a rebuild; they call it retooling. I'm hoping to see Jalen Hurts kind of piggyback off of what he did last year. And I think the last two games, not that he regressed, but I think the league kind of, adjusted to him, so to speak. Because he had that one, fantastic game against the Saints last year against a playoff team where he kind of showed up and showed out.
And nobody knew what to expect from him at that point.
Right. But I think you're going to see what this team is kind of made of, especially with the young guys. I'm excited about the young wide receiving core, although I was kind of nervous about the injury to Devontae Smith. But it's kind of a formality at this point. But
ain't that just like Philly? Get excited about somebody that gets hurt.
But right, or we'll sign somebody that it's coming off an ACL or an MCL. It's like we love CLs. You know what I mean? Like we need some sort of historic injury and not a minor injury. It's always like, he had reconstructive spleen surgery. It's like, what? Like why do we need him here? Kudos to Patrick Robinson announced his retirement.
Really?
Yesterday. Yeah, he's retired. Who's he playing for? The Saints. He told the Saints that he's filing for retirement. He was the one that
immediately or after the season's over.
No, I mean he's retired. He's retiring before the season starts.
Okay.
I just remembered seeing that article yesterday, and of course they're replaying, the interception, the pick six in the NFC Championship.
Of course they are.
Didn't really show up in the Super Bowl, but that's another story. But I if you know how everybody does the early season prediction, I want to see before I can really make a prediction. I'll do the Ray Didinger, who hates making predictions. I got to see a little bit of preseason to see, how he looks in the pocket, see how the offensive line is, and if Jordan Mailata can protect his backside. And although I'm nervous about, not nervous, but that Andre Dillard's not looking too hot these days, and I think he actually just got injured today. But all the reports, the tweets that come out from reports from practice, he's getting blown up by Josh Sweat or getting blown up by a rookie, and he looks like he might be a bust, or he may just be off to a bad start. But
well, I personally expect Josh Sweat to have.
Yeah,
I'm expecting big things from Josh Sweat. It's funny you said Ray Didinger doesn't like to do predictions. I used to work on that show that Ray Didinger is on.
Oh, did you really?
I did. I used to work on that show. It was a fun show to work on. It was just it can be long when you're actually working and not being the one talking about the game. But good dude though, Ray Didinger. Good dude, wealth of knowledge about the game. That Andre Dillard and Jordan Mailata competition, I guess. Very interested in that one. I also was like, when watching the Olympics, I was like, man, I wonder if they would have let Jordan Mailata play rugby because he was a beast. He's a beast on the rugby field. So see, I would have loved to see Jordan Mailata running the ball, right? But that's probably the second most interesting battle to me outside of the quarterback battle, which I believe I believe Jalen Hurts wins the job, but I would not be surprised if Joe Flacco is the opening day starter. I would not be surprised whatsoever. I just wouldn't. I just feel like we've seen it a lot of times in the league where the young quarterback is sat down for the older, experienced quarterback to learn some things, and then they come in week 4, 5, 6, 7, something like that. If Joe Flacco is named the starter, I don't think Joe Flacco is still the starter by week 5.
Right.
Okay. Unless the Eagles are just tearing it up.
Right.
But it's funny how we went from the Eagles in a retooling season to all of a sudden there's a lot of people thinking that they can possibly contend for a playoff spot or possibly contend. Well, same thing, but possibly contend for the NFC East title. I think they're 2 years away from that. I hate to say it. I feel like Dallas is the team to beat in this division, in this conference right now. I hate to say that. But, I mean, the Washington football team, I almost said it. The Washington football team defending NFC East champions. We don't know what the Cowboys would have done had Dak Prescott, right? Yeah, Dak Prescott stayed healthy. We don't know.
And
he's
you don't
hurt
know how he's going
now.
to right. You don't know if he's going to recover from it because that was.
Yeah, well, he has another injury now, if I'm not mistaken. He's dealing with another injury, but we all know that Dak Prescott was really the key to them not making the playoffs because had he started, I'm pretty sure Dallas makes the playoffs. But everybody's another year older. What's the running back's name over there in Dallas? I'm brain fart. Doggone it. What's his name? The half shirt guy from Ohio State. I can't think of his name. Is it Isaiah? I can't think of his name. Wow, that's amazing. I'm having a brain slippage.
My God, I see him doing the stupid thing on
everything. I can't think of it. Ezekiel Elliott. That's his name. He's another year older. And we haven't seen him play at the level that he played at 3 years ago since the whole contract dispute. CeeDee Lamb is another year older, but that's a good thing for him because last year was his rookie year. Amari Cooper's another year older. There's going to be some things that they have to deal with. The Eagles, I'm not expecting a lot out of the receiving corps. That's why I'm not understanding why so many people are feeling like they're going to compete. It's the same receivers outside of the rookie. It's Miles. I'm messing.
You were going to say Miles Davis.
I was going to say Miles Davis.
Sanders.
Miles Sanders. We don't really know what he is yet. You know, he's fast. He came to camp out of shape. He couldn't pass the fitness test. Neither did Dallas Goedert. Came in out of shape.
And Jalen Reagor too, didn't he?
I'm sorry. It was Jalen Reagor. It was Jalen Reagor. It was Jalen Reagor and Dallas Goedert, not Miles Sanders. Sorry, sorry, Miles. My bad.
Reagor got berated too, I think, publicly, and then I think he said something about his cousin had passed or a close member of his family had passed away, so he's kind of dealing with that. But
and that's a lot to deal with. But were you? I mean, when did that happen? I hate to do it. I hate to be that guy.
I know.
When did that happen? Did it happen right before you came to camp? Did it happen early off in the summer and you just didn't want to work? Like, when did that happen? But does it really Does it really matter? It doesn't matter to you when it happened. It happened. So I get that. Give me a prediction. I know you didn't want to, but give me a prediction. Do they make the playoffs or no?
8-8.
8-8.
Maybe, maybe
8-8,
7-9.
So they're playing the last place schedule, right? Like I know they had. Matter of fact, let me try to pull up the schedule. I know they play like the Broncos.
I got you.
And the Broncos stink. I know they play the Raiders in Las Vegas, and I know that's a new stadium that they just opened. I was just out there last month. They just opened that stadium, and it's a very, very nice. That's a nice stadium from the outside. All right, here, I'm looking at the schedule here.
We got the Falcons week 1.
Week 1.
Anytime we play the Falcons in the first 2 weeks of the season, minus the Super Bowl year, that always seems, because historically speaking, the Eagles always have at least 3 clunkers every schedule. There's 3 games.
Always one of them.
Falcons are always one of them. Cardinals is always another one. One of the NFC East games is always another.
What you're looking at right now, I'm looking at the schedule. They start off with the Falcons, right? Falcons stunk last year. They lost Julio. We don't know what we're gonna get with the Falcons. Then they go to the Niners come to town, and I know the Niners. I know they feel like they owe us one. They owe us a whooping. But we don't know what we're going to see from the Niners. They didn't make a play. They had a lot of injuries last year. We don't know what's going on there.
Injuries.
Then we go to the Cowboys. Then the Chiefs come to town. This is the this is the schedule we had when we won the Super. Not the same exact schedule, but the AFC West, NFC South.
All right, so
the Panthers stink. The Buccaneers are defending champions. The Raiders, I mentioned them. The Lions, we don't know what you're going to get with the Lions. The Chargers, I believe we played the Chargers last year and beat them. It might have been 2 years ago.
All right,
Broncos stink. The Saints we don't know. No Drew Brees. But go ahead. You want to go down this thing?
Let's go one at a time, and then win or loss. Eagles, Falcons.
Win.
I got a loss, so you got to win. Okay. Eagles, 49ers.
Loss.
You had to win. Okay, so let me go J. I have a loss too. Eagles, Cowboys.
Loss.
I have a loss too. Already 0-3. Eagles, Chiefs. That is definitely
loss.
That's definitely an L. And I hope it's not one of those embarrassing L's.
And it's in Philly.
Wait a minute. This is the one thing I don't like about how the NFL schedules sometimes. Like, we played the Rams, I believe, 3 years in a row, and it was all in LA. Like, why? I never understood why they did that.
So,
like the Chiefs,
have been. So I can tell you that at least I think I'm not sure if it was the Rams. I know the Seahawks. I think we played 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And they were all away. Some of that is due to some of the schedules predetermined years ahead. And then some of it is determined by your place, of course, like, how you finish the season. But why we always ended up out there, I don't know. I don't know how they determine that. But yeah, we went out to Seattle like 3 years in a row.
Right.
And yeah. But Chiefs, that's a loss for me, the Chiefs.
Eagles, Panthers, you know what?
I got the Eagles winning that.
I'll have them win. I think they'll be pissed off at that point. Eagles and Bucks.
It's at home. It's in October.
8:20. That's a Sunday night game, isn't it?
That's a Sunday night game. I got the Eagles winning that one. I got the Eagles pulling the upset. The Eagles pulled the upset in that one. That's probably the Buccaneers' first loss of the season.
What?
Yep. That's why I'm going with it.
All right. Eagles in Vegas. I got to win.
I got them losing that game.
Rather the letdown after the big one. I got you. Eagles, Lions.
That's always that. No, it's not always a clunker, but it has been. Who's their quarterback now? The kid that was in LA.
Goff.
Jared Goff is their quarterback.
I got a W. because he does not have a heart.
Halloween afternoon.
He does not have a heart of a lion. He doesn't have an offensive line. He's going to be terrified.
In Detroit.
Doesn't matter. Not with Goff.
Give me the Eagles with that one. Give me the Eagles.
Chargers.
So Chargers, Eagles. I'll take the Chargers in that one. I'll take the Eagles over the Broncos in Denver. I'll take the Saints over the Eagles. I'll take the Eagles over the Giants.
Ooh, I got better time. So Eagles over the Giants.
I'll take the Eagles over the Jets. Where the Jets? I'll take the Eagles over the Jets. I'll take the Eagles over the football team for the first time around.
You got them on a 3-game winning streak.
I do. And it's about to be 4. I think they beat the Giants again. And I think they lose the last 2. So where do I have them? Tally that on up. Here's my fake drum roll. Oh, that was the wrong button. That was the wrong button. What we got? We got the I think I had them at about 7 and 9.
Based on this tally, you are 9 and 7.
9 and 7? Okay. I was backwards, but yeah. What you got?
Wait a minute, not 9 and 7. 9 and 8. Because of the extra game.
Oh, that's right, 17. 17
oh,
games.
Man, that's going to mess me up.
Yes, I guess they can't finish 8 and 8.
I have them at 6 and 11.
6 and 11. I can see that happening too. I can definitely see that happening. So this year is the first year with the 17th game. It's an extra game. There's 3 preseason games, and 17 regular season games.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that?
I like it from the standpoint of it's one less preseason game. You know, if you're going to do it, then take away the preseason game so it kind of balances out.
That 4th preseason game was always like, nah.
Yeah.
I'll watch like the first drive and that's it.
Right. If you can't figure out who's going to be your starters within a month, then you shouldn't be coaching personally. But yeah, I am kind of like, I just thought 16 games was just perfect. Like just the layout between the preseason and the season and the playoffs. It's one of those things like with baseball, like how much do you really have to tweak or fix? I mean, to me, it's a money grab. Again, more games, more revenue, all that crap.
Sure.
But you're kind of justifying. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess we'll say.
So they. At one point, they played 14 games this season.
Right.
Then they played 16 games. Now they're playing 17 games. My mind immediately goes to the record books. You have an extra game to break records, right? Like Michael Strahan had 2 extra games to get a sack record that, might have been gotten in 14 games. Yeah, the 2. I'm not saying that was the case, but what I'm saying is some guys had to do it in 14 games. He got 16 games to do it. Passing yards, everything, every stat is going to be inflated to a point. Asterisks. I mean, we haven't done it before. I know you hate the asterisk thing, but it's like,
well, I mean,
you're going to wipe out a lot of records.
True. That's what they always say, records are made to be broken. But I mean, the whole asterisk thing, I mean, because remember, Roger Maris had 61 home runs in the season, which is the most ever at the time. But there was an asterisk on it for 40 years because he did it in 162 games, where Babe Ruth hit 60 in 144 games or 154 games.
Right.
So, then there's the argument, a season is a season, period.
Okay.
And I think that with sports, it kind of ebbs and flows. There's no guarantee. Just like with baseball now, like where are the 60 and 70 home run hitters? You know, we haven't really seen that. You know, there's people trying to hit more home runs, but it just seems like you're not seeing too many of the 50 and the 60 home run hitters like you used to in the early 2000s, and part of it due to steroids or whatever you believe. But I don't know that I don't know the records are going to be broken even with the extra games, mainly because of how players treat themselves, I guess you can say. So like for instance, the baseball record for most wins of all time in a career is 511, right? So basically you would have to win 30 games a year for like, I don't know, 30 years or 20 some years just to be even close to get to 4 to 500. But you have more games to do it. But pitchers don't even last. You know, the person that did this record, I mean, he was pitching on 2 days rest. He would pitch extra innings. I mean, pitching staffs were only like maybe 5 to 6 players versus now you have 12. And pitchers only pitch like 6 or 7 innings. You know what I mean?
Excuse me. I feel like that should always be discussed when breaking a record, when you have more games to do it due to the scheduling. I always feel like it should be discussed that the previous record holder did it in such and such less games.
Right.
But I feel like it only happens when the person that is breaking the record is not as well liked as the person that originally set the record. For instance, Roger Maris and Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
People love Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Roger Maris wasn't received that greatly, right? And but they always say Roger Maris was like a good dude, but he wasn't received greatly. He was trying to beat Babe Ruth, and then they talk about the asterisks.
Right.
It was the same. It was a career record, but Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron, right? And I get it, you know, the steroid era or whatever, but he never tested positive. We know that. But they wanted to put an asterisk next to Barry Bonds because he possibly used performance-enhancing drugs, where Hank Aaron did not. We all know Hank Aaron was received in a higher light than Barry Bonds, right? At least going forward, like, you know, he dealt with the civil rights and racism and stuff like that, stuff that Barry Bonds didn't have to deal with on the same level as Hank Aaron. But once Hank Aaron's career was over and, you know, people really appreciated him for who he was, people loved Hank Aaron. Yeah. And for Barry Bonds to come and come in to break his record, probably had he not been caught up in the steroid scandal, probably if he had been a little more, I guess, nicer with the media, nicer to teammates, if he was received better, maybe they don't talk about an asterisk. Well, they couldn't talk about it. The only reason they talk about it was because of the steroids. Even if the steroids happened, but he was nice to the media, nice to his teammates and stuff like that, they may not even have discussed the asterisks, honestly.
Right.
Cal Ripken Jr. played whatever it is, consecutive straight games. So 100 and some odd games a season. My man from the Cubs said we need to play less games. That would mean to break Cal Ripken's record, you have to play longer in your career. So how is that determined? You know, it wasn't easier for Cal because he didn't have to play as long, but he had to play more games in the season, or is it, you know, it's like when you do make those changes, I feel like you just have to discuss the history of it, and I don't think they do that a lot. Yeah. I just don't. So,
yeah.
Well, do you have a thing for me, a player for me?
I do. I do. I still have a feeling you might get this one though, because you're on a streak. You're on your own streak. You got but
it's like I gotta guess like 32 people before I get it. I don't really consider.
Well, last week I think the last 2 weeks you got it in 2 or less. You got it in like 2 or less.
All right, what you got for me this week? Let's see what I can do.
All right.
This just means you're not going to give me as good a hints because you don't want me to get it right away. But it's all right.
All right. You want to put them on the screen, sir?
Oh, my fault. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Didn't even see it down there.
All right.
Okay. 3-time All-Star, 96 World Series, 2-time Silver Slugger, war number 23, 45, 25, 45, 45, and 33.
So he played 13 years in the big leagues. I'll give you the teams that he played in order because when I saw the teams, I was surprised at the teams that he played with. Played with the Toronto Blue Jays, the Detroit Tigers, the New York Yankees, the Anaheim Angels, and the Cleveland, I guess we have to say Guardians now. Yeah. They could have come up with a better name.
They could have. 96. He played in the 96 World Series.
Correct.
Who played in the 96 World Series? I feel like you give me guys in the 96 World Series every other week, and I always ask.
No, I've given
was
you
that,
who.
Was that Indians and
that was 95.
Braves?
That was 95. 96 was the New York Yankees and the Atlanta Braves. And I think the Braves won game 1 like 12-1. I just remember Andrew Jones hit a grand slam in the first inning. And
that is when, and this is something that you're going to be surprised about of me.
Uh-oh.
That series is when I really started to hate the Yankees because before I realized that the Phillies and the Braves hated each other, I was a big Braves fan. What? I was a Phillies fan first, but I was a huge Braves fan because all the guys I liked play. You had Terry Pendleton, you had David Justice, you had Fred McGriff, you had Deion Sanders, Brian, and all these guys. You had Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux. You had all these guys, Steve Avery, Bedrosian, Barry Hill. You had all these guys that I liked on the Braves.
I definitely like Terry Pendleton, but other than that, no one else from the Braves. Only time I rooted for the Braves, of course, because they were the underdog against the Minnesota Twins. So I rooted for them a little bit.
Too. That hurt me too.
But I actually rooted. This is the only Yankees team I rooted for, only because they hadn't been in the World Series in I think at that point 15 years. They were kind of down in the dumps or whatever, and they got a couple of players on that team that I was following.
Wait a minute, was this the year that Charlie Hayes caught
Charlie Hayes? Yeah, that's the Charlie Hayes went to Philadelphia and caught that pop up to win the World Series. And you remember because Mark Lemke was at the plate. He actually fouled the ball in almost the same spot, but he fell in the dugout prior to it. And then I think he looked over because they didn't really help him. And then the very next pitch, it was the same pop up, and then he caught it. That's why I didn't like the Braves, because they didn't help my man Charlie Hayes. He almost died trying to catch a damn foul ball. Pricks.
3-time All-Star, 96 World Series for the Yankees. 2-time Silver Slugger. I hated the Yankees, so I'm trying to think who played for the Yankees then.
So here's this might help or hinder, but remember, if you look at the 96 through like 99 teams in New York, they spent a lot of money on a lot of players.
They did. And 3-time All-Star, 96 World Series champion, and 2-time Silver Slugger. Whew. What position did he play? That's when I get it, when you tell me position.
This particular season, he was a DH. And they had like 10 of them.
Oh, man. It wasn't Cecil, because Cecil did play for the Yankees for a time, but it wasn't 96.
You're correctly incorrect. Cecil Fielder.
It was Cecil?
It was Cecil Fielder.
Wow.
How you get the answer right by saying it was wrong? How the hell do you do that?
That's called hedging your bet.
Yes, sir.
Cecil Fielder. Wow. So, interesting fact that I just saw the other day.
Uh-oh.
His son Prince Fielder played in major leagues.
And I was going to give you that as a clue, but I'm like, he's going to get it.
Oh yeah, I'd have definitely got it right away. Even though there's like a lot of guys with their sons play, but Prince Fielder finished his career with the same amount of home runs as his father.
Exact same number. Yeah, I saw that. I
Exact same
saw that.
number.
Exact
How
same
about
number.
that? How about that?
Like father, like son. It's a shame he had to retire early too.
Yeah, no, I would have loved to see him play. He could have been one of those guys that Major League Baseball could get behind and promote.
Yeah.
Like they should have been promoting Miguel Cabrera more and Prince Fielder and who else?
In defense of Major League Baseball, like I think they try to do that with like Trout, but Trout was just like, I just want to play the game. I just want to do this and that. Like that's it. And I see what they're doing with like Tatis. You know what I mean? And how they're kind of like they're trying to make the home run, you know, the standing at the plate, the dancing, or they're trying to like, I guess,
embracing it a little bit more. But you know, in the major league game, you do that, and it's a sign of disrespect, and now the pitchers want to hit you. Mm-hmm. You do that in like I think it's Japan or Korea or something. It's it's expected.
Right.
It's expected to do that, and they don't see it as disrespect because I mean let's be honest. Let's be completely honest. You hit a home run against a pitcher. Majority of the time, that pitcher is going to win. Mm-hmm. The one time you beat that pitcher, you're not expected to. You're not right. It's an event. You're not expected to celebrate. I mean, some people might say act like you've been there before, but you may not be there again, and you may have never been there before. So get your goodie out of it, like my wife likes to say. Get your goodie out of it while you can.
It's a good quote.
Yeah, get your goodie out of it. Well, as we getting ready to wrap up this show, but I'm gonna give you a chance to give a last word if you have one.
Something I saw earlier today, and it was really profound, you know, marking the end of the Olympics. But you know, for those that may need some encouragement, Usain Bolt won 8 gold medals in 3 Olympics, and he only ran for less than 115 seconds on the track, earning $120 million. That's economic. That's the economy of effort. But for just those 2 minutes, he trained for 20 years. That's investment. So think long term because patience pays.
I ain't even gonna try to follow that up. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna try to follow that up. That being said, that's going to be our final word of the day. Make sure you check out our YouTube channel at youtube.com/New Truths Radio and make sure you subscribe. Of course, you can also hit us up on our text line at 215-486-0335. That's 215-486-0335. And you know, when it's all said and done, go to newtruthsradio.com and check out some of the music playing over there. And it's also playing some of our shows. And go to YouTube channel. Just check out all the shows that we've had. You'll enjoy it. The 10-7 show, Let's Not Argue, Check Swing Podcast, Intelligent Ignorance. It's all there. All right. So for Miguel Santa and myself, I appreciate y'all for coming out, and we'll talk to y'all next time. All right, y'all. That's all I got to say. So, peace.